Whilst he had to wait for all the super soldiers and aggressive raccoons to have their movies first, it's finally Ant-Man's chance to make it to the big screen. But it did end up being a challenge to the Disney Marvel name. As always, they were obviously going to make a profit with this film, since even a literal bag of manure could make money with the Disney Marvel name attached. But it was a test for the quality of Marvel films. With Edgar Wright's departure, the late rewrites, and the film's overall rushed production, Marvel had to beat the negative talk and prove that they could still milk out 2 films a year whilst maintaining the same charm and humor that made the Marvel franchise the Goliath that it is. And they seem to have succeeded, making another enjoyable comedy action movie and a good addition to the Marvel Universe. This film follows Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd. He's a conman and master thief who's recently been released from prison. His skills have gone unnoticed by the original Ant-Man, Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, and his daughter Hope, played by Evangeline Lilly. They need him to become the new Ant-Man and retrieve the Yellow Jacket suit, a costume with the same abilities as the original Ant-Man, to stop it from getting into the hands of the likes of Hydra. Motivated by his desire to see his daughter again, Scott accepts his second chance in life and agrees to become the hero that he needs to be. Whilst they try to raise the stakes at points, with Pym reminding us every so often of how the Yellow Jacket suit could cause global domination, the real charm of the film is in how low-key it is compared to the rest of the Marvel Universe. It's not some epic battle where the fate of humanity is at stake as they fight endless swarms of identical minions. Instead, it's just a cool heist movie, and a nice change of pace from the usual large-scale tone of global destruction that's becoming overused in superhero movies. Just as always, Marvel aces their casting decisions. Paul Rudd is a likable addition to the Marvel superhero roster, bringing the same kind of comedic charm we loved in films like The 40-Year-Old Virgin to the role, albeit with less you know how I know your gay jokes.
I know that you're gay? Oh. You have a rainbow bumper sticker on your car that says, "I love it when balls are in my face."
Plus, Douglas is just amazing as Hank Pym. It's cool seeing a retired hero who's out of his prime but still has the same genius mind and bravery of a hero in his youth. He's actually so good, I'd like to see Pym get his own film at some point. It could actually have some great potential. Like, how cool would it be to get a Marvel superhero film set in the Cold War? And Ant-Man would be perfect for that kind of espionage, like sneaking into other countries and stealing secrets. But it seems unlikely this will happen given the already packed schedule Marvel has set out for the next couple of years. But whilst their heroes are great, the main villain Yellow Jacket is not as well written. Unfortunately, he follows all the usual Marvel tropes to a week one use only villain, with a rushed backstory, lack of screen time, and his powers basically being an evil version of the hero. Although he does still have some enjoyable moments, largely because of Corey Stoll, who not only gives a great menacing presence, but also plays it so over the top in how batshit insane he is, that he actually somehow brings charm to a charmless character. However, the centerpiece of this film is the action sequences, which contain some of the most unique fight scenes that Disney's Marvel has had in a long time. These scenes feel like they have Edgar Wright's fingerprints all over them, having his kind of clever wordplay and great visual gags, like that great trailer shot of Thomas. These fights keep the action content and the laughs heavy, and they're very enjoyable. Though that's not to say the fight scenes are flawless. At times their decision to have the battles be created entirely with CGI are fairly distracting, as most of the backgrounds are blurred out in the miniature scenes, like we're watching it through some weird drunk goggles. It never ruins the fights, but it can be distracting, and it would have looked a lot better if they had been more creative for some of the fight sequences, and actually used sets for at least a few of the miniature shots. But that's not to downplay the fights, because they were still amazing. But at the end of the film, the lingering fault did remain. Would Edgar Wright's Ant-Man have been better? Like, maybe it would have been more visually creative. Or maybe much of Wright's work was still in the film and it would have made that much of a difference. But ignoring what it could have been, this film's still great at what it does. There's still the issue there of how Marvel is currently treating some of its directors, but we'll see how that works out in the long term. The movie itself is a fun blockbuster, and definitely worth a watch if you're enjoying the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Especially for the after-credit scenes, which I won't spoil here, but are a hell of a lot better than just seeing Thanos getting his ass out of the chair.